Bingo. So today I wanted to talk a little bit on the details for Resident Evil 8 that we have seen and heard from the producers, the art director and whatnot. Back on June or July 11th, I can't remember the month, it was around that time, we had the PlayStation 5 reveal event and they gave us a trailer for Resident Evil 8, which I already spoke on in a previous video. And then on September the 16th, on the PlayStation 5 showcase, they gave us another trailer for Resident Evil 8, where they showed off a little bit more. And then last night, on the 25th of September, at Capcom's event for the Tokyo Game Show, Tsuyoshi Konda, Pete Fabiano, and some other members of Capcom spoke about Resident Evil 8 in a little bit more detail. Now, as much as I'd like to say that we'll be going over all of these things, I don't have any form of structure to this. I have no bullet points, no notes. I literally just rewatched the trailer like 5 minutes ago. I think for the most part, I want to talk about possibilities about Resident Evil 8's plot and maybe some events and mechanics in the game. We'll start from the beginning of the trailer where you see Chris and his men break into Ethan's house and knock him out. The last things you hear him say is, "Take him away."
Chris? What the hell? Take him away.
And this begs the question if this is just before or just after Chris puts Mia in the dirt. That was horrible. And it begs the question really of, is Chris the one who puts Ethan in the village? Or does Ethan maybe escape from Chris and just end up in the village by pure coincidence? It also still leaves more questions asking about what's going on with Chris. There's a lot of people who are saying he's just lost his mind and he's just going after anyone that has any links to bioweapons. I know I said previously that I thought Mia may be infected. Not infected, sorry. She may be pregnant with an infected fetus. And Chris just turned up to take it out personally instead of having like a random merc do it for him. I have a few ideas, really outlandish ideas, I'm not gonna lie. One of them I do like as an idea, but really do doubt. So some people have said that they reckon that there's gonna be a Wesker in this game. Some people think that the main vampire woman that we see is Alex Wesker, or maybe the other Wesker sisters who apparently didn't survive the Wesker trials actually did survive. I've said that maybe Albert Wesker comes back in some capacity. Maybe he somehow survived a fucking rocket in a volcano, or he was cloned or something. I don't know. It wasn't really well thought out. The trailer said this is his like final story. I don't remember the exact quote, but I think it might be something along those lines, but not that direct. I was sat there thinking, maybe what if Chris, because Wesker was like a trusted ally at one point, then like his biggest rival, and he finally put Wesker away, then he had to deal with Wesker's child, and then on top of that, all of the fighting of the BOWs and like the constant conflict. Maybe it's fucked with his head and he is becoming Wesker. Maybe he's trying to fill the role that Wesker had in his life. Maybe he's trying to compensate for that and has either started his own secret organization where they pull some shady shit like kidnapping Ethan and killing Mia. Maybe he joins with like a Neo Umbrella or re-established the original like Red Umbrella, and then he used his contacts and connections and resources from the BSAA and Blue Umbrella to make this a thing. It's outlandish, like I said, like that's jumping not just a shark, that's jumping like 20 fucking sharks that are all on fire. But I personally think that would be quite cool, because I mentioned in the previous videos that it would be cool to see if Chris is kind of like slowly losing his mind. He's like, you know, going through something mentally, some kind of like mental degradation, and then this could play into it and show us what's actually going on. Or maybe it's something as simple as Chris was captured and brainwashed and being mind controlled by someone like the Connections or a Neo Umbrella group or some other unheard of secret third party. It's simpler and a lot less stupid than my idea, and it would still make sense, but I don't think they would build all of this tension up behind what's going on with Chris just for like halfway through the story. It's like, oh, that guy's got a chip in his brain. You know, like Jill in Resident Evil 5. Like, I doubt we'll be pulling anything off Chris's chest, but I don't think they'll go down that route. I think they'll go for something a lot more convoluted, like the whole I was secretly Wesker all along thing. Something else I saw in the trailer that a few people have also pointed out is the fact that it seems like we're going back to like a Resident Evil 4 type of enemy encounter situation, where instead of it being like 3 or 4 zombies at a time or one molded creature at a time, if we're going to follow Resident Evil 7 rules, it seems like we're going to have like a mob mechanic again, where they will like run at you and they're using weapons and tools and they'll try maneuvers and tactics. Because what we saw in the trailer was the werewolf type enemy in a group of 3 and then rushing at the camera like they were about to attack Ethan. And I think this would be quite interesting. It would lead to a lot of situations where it will be pushing things like health management, resource management, right to the limits. Because like with what Resident Evil 4 initially did with their Ganados in like the opening village act, or any point really where you're going up against more than just one enemy. And that kind of indirectly leads me into the fact that we see the old woman again. I call her Baba Yaga just because it feels fitting. I know she probably won't be called Baba Yaga, but I just thought, you know, it suits. And a lot of people were wondering if she just shows up at like random points and doesn't really add anything. Maybe she's like super intrinsic to the story. Some people went as far as to think maybe she's like some kind of merchant. But then at the end of this most recent trailer, we saw that there may be another merchant instead, as we see the triple chin of this guy talk about window shopping. I had a thought about that as well. In Resident Evil 7, you would pick up steroids and these things, and they would be like a health boost and a reload speed boost. Maybe because this woman looks like a witch doctor, maybe killing enemies in this game, like Resident Evil 4, will drop money, ammo, maybe like specific materials, and then you take them to this witch person, and maybe she'll take some of those materials and turn them into things like health boosters, reload speed boosters, movement speed boosters. Because that's one thing this game would benefit from, is having Ethan move faster than the speed of nothing. Ethan in Resident Evil 7 moved very slow. Even with the running shoes on, my god, that was slow. Or maybe not even like permanent things. Maybe she just offers like temporary buffs or something like that to keep the Puritans from raging about health upgrades and shit in a Resident Evil game again. But then that does lead to the other merchant, which I have seen many people who are going up in arms about it really, who are worried that they're now going to introduce a merchant again, and then like Resident Evil 4 we'll be able to purchase a variety of guns, upgrade those guns, inventory space upgrades, like a money system again, which is not what they want in their Resident Evil game. They want like your standard 6-slot inventory management, resource management. And I understand that was the core mechanics that built up the Resident Evil series. I'm just not necessarily sure that that constitutes to like the best Resident Evil experience. Like, it would be really dumb if they're talking about pushing the survival horror experience again for the new generation, and then like a quarter stage of the game you can just buy like dual wielding Uzis and mow everyone down. That would be dumb. But we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, a lot of this is still up in the air. We have been given very minimal detail about what's going on in the game in terms of plot and story. And the final thing I want to talk about, we've seen werewolf type enemies, like the feral beast type enemies. We've seen the vampire enemies. It begs the question if this is a singular virus or infection or whatever, and it affects different people differently. Like, maybe the only reason we've seen werewolf, male, feral creature things is because that's how this virus affects men, and the women are minimally infected but just getting like the bloodlust of a vampire and it affects them differently. For all we know, they may be able to mutate into like a horrendous vampire bat thing at will, but we have to wait and see. Or we may be going to have something like hunters, like amphibians, creatures from the Black Lagoon, merman kind of creatures. Is there going to be a boss fight against a Frankenstein's monster kind of creature? Maybe you venture down into the crypts and you start fighting mummies? I don't know. Like, it seems like they're trying to go for like a Hammer Monster universe kind of thing, which I'm not complaining about in all honesty. I thought maybe it might be something a little bit more, instead of it being like a manufactured infection virus. But I personally thought it might be something a little less universal. Well, universal is probably the wrong word to use. So instead of it being specifically a man-made virus or several viruses that somehow got out of like an underground lab in the castle, like there's probably gonna be, on the table in the trailer where we see the people gather around for like a seance thing, there's like a flash cut of a symbol on the table, which a lot of people say references the fetus that we saw in the key art and in the trailer before. But I kind of got like a Cthulhu vibe from it. Bear with me. This is gonna get stupid. What if overall it was more of a Lovecraftian cosmic horror theme? I'm not saying they're gonna throw everything out the window in terms of their science-based infections and then go completely like aliens from outer space. What if, and this is a big if, what if under the castle there is a person or a animal or creature who stumbled across this one virus or was infected in a way and was left to fester and mutate under the castle or maybe near the castle to the point where it became something that could only be described as Lovecraftian, and the people of the village just started to worship it? Maybe because this creature is ancient and giving off this like absolutely like funk nasty guff, that going near it or maybe doing some bizarre fucking ritual where you lick the thing, it affects each person differently, and that birthed the werewolf men, it birthed the vampire women. Maybe fishermen who were more associated with the water do go through that like Innsmouth type deal where they become fish people. I don't know, that's probably, next to the Wesker idea, this is probably like the biggest stretch, and it's probably like the one that everyone's gonna call bullshit on the most. But I really was getting like a Lovecraftian vibe. Like that fetus that we saw in the key art is all weird and mangled, and I think I even said in my previous video that it actually looks like a Great One fetus. I don't know if I actually said that or not, but then the marking on the table as well, and the fact that these enemies are a little bit more fantastical than what we're used to with like the zombies, the hunters, the tyrants. Maybe Chris, oh shit, maybe Chris went to this village and was taken by the cult, was like bitten by the vampire women who may have the ability to control people, then demanded Chris goes and brings more people to the village as like sacrifice or to bolster their numbers, and that's why he goes after Ethan. And then because Mia is already pregnant with an infected child, or maybe the mold infected her a lot more than Ethan, she was seen as incompatible, unworthy. So Chris puts her down on the spot and then takes Ethan away, who wasn't as exposed to the mold, probably recovered a lot quicker, and he's now fodder for whatever the new cult wants to do. And that's maybe why Chris is acting up, because he's basically just some vampire's bitch now. Also in this scene, and this is the very, very last point I'm going to make, because I can't find anything about this, there's no one talking about this in a way that is sparking conversation. The people around the table seem to say the name Mother Miranda or Mother Veranda. I don't know. I'm wondering if this is going to be like the Osmond Sadler of this cult or organisation or whatever the fuck's going on. For all we know, Mother Miranda might even be the Baba Yaga person that I've been talking about a few times now. If you can find something, or if you have your own theories on what's going on overall, I'd love to hear all about it. I am more than willing to discuss this kind of thing down in the comments below. That's one thing I've always liked about like Resident Evil games, Silent Hill games, is trying to piece together what's going on, like the lore behind it, the mysteries that are building up to it. How did it get to this point? Do I think this is Chris Redfield's final game? I'm not gonna lie when I say I'm not 100% sold on Chris Redfield dying, but I don't think I'm willing to say they'd kill off Ethan just because they've actually said they finally plan on giving him some fucking character. But we'll have to wait and see. Like, whatever Capcom's doing, they're doing, if it causes upset or not. But it's still exciting to see where this is going to go. Again, let me know what you think. One of the best aspects of this kind of thing where Capcom are teasing us with trailers and small little tidbits is the formulation of theories and discussions around it. And I want to start a conversation about what people think. I'd like to hear if people have found anything, that small details in the trailer or connections to words, names, places. Let's get that going. Let's talk about Resident Evil 8. And I will see you in the next video.